Hello, my name is Scott King, and welcome to this edition of Difference Makers, Episode 6. This is the show where we'll celebrate the teachers of the Atlanta public school system. In this edition, we'll visit a school on the move, a single-gender campus, and 2 dynamic elementary schools. In our travels through Atlanta, you'll meet some of the city's greatest and yet under-recognized educational gems it has to offer. Together, they make this edition of Difference Makers. If you've ever traveled down Boulevard here in East Atlanta near the historic Auburn Avenue, you were probably too busy watching the road to notice the infamous yet beautiful Hope Hill Elementary School to my right. I had a chance to meet a 4th grade teacher who openly admits her gateway to education and teaching opened up while attending Spelman College convocations in her freshman year. She cultivates and motivates her students through a dynamic classroom that does not stop. I learned quickly on my visit that there's no standing around or slowing down in her educational circles. All that aside, she takes education very seriously while striving for excellence. Let's go inside and meet difference maker Miss Lakeisha McDaniel.
Students, you all will receive 2 iPads per table. Now for my tables that have 4 students, because the other student, your teammates are absent, you will receive 1. But if you need a computer, you can go over to the computer station, okay? All right, so once you get your iPads, you are free to go. All right, let me have a representative from the Bulldog table come get your iPad. All right, Louise, be very careful.
I knew I always wanted to work with children. However, when I started Spelman, I actually started in biology down the pre-med path to do pediatrics. Every Tuesdays and Thursdays at Spelman, we do something called convocation. And this particular convocation, it was near the end of the school semester, and a children's group came and they performed. And once I saw the children perform, tears just started flowing down my eyes, and that's when I knew, okay, I'm supposed to be teaching. So it was as soon as the program was over, that was when I changed my major to child development.
Now, like you just said, it wasn't child development, you were actually something else. So why was the money, the science, or the love for science also? Why biology?
It was the money. I just chose to be a doctor. So everyone thinks, oh, well, doctor, that's makes more money and a more
lucrative?
Yes, profession than a teacher. But I always knew I wanted to work with children.
Let's go. Are we ready?
Yeah. I'm the sun. When you see me from afar, I twinkle. Why? Because I'm a star.
What you saw today, starting off, was the solar system wrap. So we were working on the planets and the order of the planets in relation to the sun. And so my thing is, when I want to remember something, I think of different ways that will keep my attention on the subject, that will be catchy, and that I'll remember something. And so because I've studied my students and I know my students, they love music, they love things with the beat. So I was on the internet one day and I found the solar system rap, and so we began to listen to it. The more we listened to it, the repetitiveness of it, they got the words. And so as we've been doing this earth science unit focusing on the solar system, that's usually an engagement piece that we use to begin the lesson.
So that's one method you use, and I notice it's very hands-on.
Yes.
Everyone's involved.
We do a lot of movement around in the classroom. We do a lot of small groups, movement to the carpet, and the reason why we do that is it keeps their attention. When they're constantly moving, they're constantly doing something, if they can touch it, that's their attention. If they can see, okay, this is something that I use in real life, they'll make that connection. And so whether it's if we're outside, they're looking in the sky and they see, oh, Miss L. McDaniel, that's a cumulus cloud. That lets me know that they're taking in the information, and not only are they taking in the information, but they're relating it, they're making a real life connection.
The one thing I hear is that other teachers are fascinated by the techniques that you use And I've heard other teachers say, well, we kind of like take things from other teachers and get ideas. And talk about your techniques in the classroom. You've got a diverse class. Can you tell me anything about the 4th grade? Bring us inside the classroom.
The 4th grade, my class is diverse, so we have different cultures represented in the class. And so again, just learning my students, learning what their interests are, what their likes are, what their dislikes are, and that enables me to formulate lessons around them, to teach the standards, to teach what they need to know, but to put a twist to it to where it's their input in it. So what their interests are, what they like to learn, what fascinates them is what I put in my lessons.
Where did you come up with this? Do you have relatives that used to teach? Or?
Yes, my mother's a teacher, my grandfather, my grandparents, great uncles. I come from a long line of educators.
So did they give you tips along the way?
They didn't. They just told me to be myself. They knew that whatever I'm supposed to do, that I will do it well. And so it wasn't really any tips, just to be prepared, to be myself, know my students, and just put my best foot forward.
Okay, so what are some of the roles that you see people play on these news stations? Talia?
Anchors.
Okay, we have anchors. Akir?
Meteorologists.
Meteorologists. What does a meteorologist do?
They predict the weather.
They do what?
They predict the weather.
Okay. Anybody remember a weather instrument?
Oh,
Louise?
a barometer.
Okay. What's another role? Amani?
I go in a lot of school buildings, and I find every one of them has their own fingerprint. And every year, because the staff changes, the children change. So you can't just come in with the playbook saying, I'm ready to teach 101. Would you agree?
Oh, yes. It takes time. It's time consuming to be a teacher. And even with me, this being my 2nd year here at Hope Hill, that was like a shock to me. This is my 1st year teaching 4th grade, so I'm, in a sense, learning the curriculum with my students. And it makes it interesting because I'm able to try different things, see what works, what doesn't work, and just go from there.
What are the 2 bits of advice that come to mind that you definitely want to pass on to somebody else?
For someone starting out teaching, make sure you know your students. Know the curriculum. You always want to be prepared. Always have a plan A, B, and C if need be. Always give your students multiple ways of learning. I would suggest not to come into a situation with just one mindset, but be open to different mindsets, because in your classroom you have different personalities. And so your teaching style, you can't have a set teaching style that will necessarily reach everybody, but just be flexible. To be flexible and just to be open to centering your classroom based on your students, being culturally responsive, knowing your students, and creating your lessons, creating engagement pieces that will cause the children to get involved.
AKA the rap.
Yes.
Okay. Very good, very good. Sometimes it's made to look like teaching is very simple. What are the things people should be aware of, I guess, if they wanted to teach in APS or wherever, just the realities of the job? Anything come to mind?
Classroom management, because if the classroom is not structured, if the classroom is chaotic, how can learning take place? And children need structure. So that would be the most important thing, to make sure you have structure, have routines, so when the students come in, they know what to expect.
At large, are there other reasons that really draw you into the job and bring out that passion?
What draws me to teaching is fulfilling to know that I'm having an impact on children's lives. When you see a student from August all the way to May, and when you just see that growth, that lets me know that I've done something right. When a student can come up to me, we're outside, and say, oh, Miss McDaniel, that was a homophone, or look at these clouds, that just lets me know you're taking in what I'm teaching you. And not only that, but you're going to carry it with you. And it's just, it's fulfilling to know that I'm positively impacting the lives of children, and it's so fulfilling to know that they see someone who just plays so many different roles as we as teachers do, and someone to look up to. And you know, one of my students said, I want to carry on my teacher's dream. When I grow up, I want to be a teacher so I can continue on her dream of teaching. And when I see things like that, it lets me know that I'm successful. You know, my children are learning. They're not only just learning to pass a test, but they're learning materials to take with them for the rest of their lives.
So let's have a little fun. We're at Hope Hill Elementary.
Yes.
Once again, having a good time. And let's let the community and the people on the other side of this camera know exactly what's so great about Hope Hill.
This is my second year at Hope Hill, my second school year, and one of the biggest things that I love about Hope Hill is the staff. I'm working with teachers who are so committed to the school, teachers who truly care about the students, teachers who have a strong passion for educating, and that's something you don't always see everywhere. That's not something that I've always seen. But being here at Hope Hill, you have teachers that come in 6:45, 7 o'clock and stay till 5 and 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And so just the level of dedication, but the level of just teamwork where we're working together, we're feeding off of each other's knowledge and information, and we're just working together just to make sure that overall our top goal is to make sure that the children are learning what they need to learn and that they are learning things that will equip them to be successful, not just in school, but in life. And so the environment, the students are great. I never have a dull moment here, and it's just fulfilling to be working with teammates that truly have a passion for children.
Let's go back to the teaching. You were doing so much in there. Another point came to mind. They had a thing where they got in a circle and they were passing around the object like hot potato, hot potato. Explain to us what was happening there.
That was the hot potato game, and we, in the past, have done it with the parts of speech. Whatever the topic is, there are 4 cups, and the topics will be written on the cups. And so when the music starts, with what you heard was Teach Me How to Dougie, when the music starts, they'll pass around the cup, and I have an envelope with clues to different words. So this particular subject was solar system. So there were 2 inner planets, 2 outer planets. So whatever that I choose, once the music stops, whoever has, say if I said Mars, whoever has the cup that says Mars, once they read the clue, they're out. And so we'll just continue on the circle until everyone is out. And so that's a form of like an informal assessment to me, because if I'm reading a clue, this will let me know if you have the cup, this will let me know if you know the answer to my clue. So that's another form of informal assessment that they don't know that's taking place. It's just fun to them. But for me, it's an aspect that allows me to informally assess them and see what they know.
I was seeing something else completely. I was like, wow, they're learning to work in teams and in groups just like the real work world. Mm-hmm. So they're getting some life lessons for their professional careers to come.
Right, and even when you see them in their tables, we always work with groups, and that's one of the things, part of our classroom norms is we're a team. We work together, we respect each other, and so just being in that group setting just lets them know that you need people in life. You're going to need people, and so you're going to be working with people, and so you need to learn how to effectively get along with people. You may not always like certain aspects of a person, but you still have to respect them, and you still have to work with them to reach your common goal. Whatever it may be, you still need to work together to reach that common goal. I want to make sure that when they come in the classroom, everything that they need for the day is already set up. I don't want them to see me struggling trying to get things together, because I don't want them to think that that's okay for them to do in life or for them to do on their job. So for them to come in and see me as their model teacher, for them to see me that I'm prepared, that I have everything that I need for the day, and that I'm not scrambling around trying to find anything, that puts in them that they need to also come prepared. Come with your homework, come with your materials, come prepared. And so for me, it's even on the weekends, like I said, being new to 4th grade, just studying the curriculum just as they study it, making sure that I'm always a step ahead of them. And so just learning a new curriculum, incorporating the Common Core standards, it's just being committed to being a lifelong learner. So just as they're learning, I'm learning too.
What do you love about the job?
I love being able to come in every day and just know that I'm affecting children's lives. I love the fact that I'm doing what I love. It's not for a paycheck. It's not, for the money. It's the fact that I'm doing what I know I was put here to do, and that's to educate children. And so just the fact that, not everyone can say that they're doing what they love. Not everyone can say that they're doing what they have a strong passion for, but I can. And so each and every day I get to teach. I don't have to. I get to teach. And so for the fact that I get to do what I love, it's fulfilling. And so it just makes me want to put my best foot forward every day, make sure that I'm prepared.
Ms. McDaniel, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I look up to a lot of the older heads, the innovators, the heads of the art movements of the past. They kept it really edgy and like a lot of the Latin American muralists and Latin American artists, and their styles were very unique and new to their time. You know, somewhat controversial, but that's who I look up to mainly. Personally, I'm very excited about going to college. It's something new and it's something different than what I'm used to. I'm definitely going to be a little out of my element, but that's what makes it so exciting, is that, you know, it's something fresh. Well, there's so many opportunities that I think I could miss out on if I didn't go, you know? Getting into college takes planning and vision. You know, it's just like when I take a brick wall and turn it into a canvas for my art. Paintings help me realize that I've got what it takes.
Our next difference maker makes it her personal mission to serve the young ladies here at Coretta Scott King Young Women's Leadership Academy, known to some as Siskiwala. She is so passionate about her work, she makes it a daily priority to see to it that her students become productive citizens in our society. As an instructor in the Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps, this doctoral recipient has nearly all the tools she needs to meet her daily goals. In my sit-down interview, you'll see that she clearly meets her mission and does not stop in the classroom. Quoting motivational speaker Les Brown, she states, "Shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars." Let's go ahead and meet difference maker, First Sergeant Mona Venning.
Left, right.
Basically, I joined the military when I was 17 years old. And while I was in the military, I did not want to be an officer because I wanted to be enlisted so that I can be a drill sergeant. So I was a drill sergeant, and as a drill sergeant, I worked with young people, 17 and 18, just joining the military. I've done that. I went through the ranks. I became a first sergeant. While I was a first sergeant, I deployed to Iraq, Afghanistan, and after I got back from Afghanistan, I was basically at my 20-year mark. And I decided that, you know, I was going to retire because I have 2 children and my husband is also in the military, so we do military. And I wanted to spend some more time with my children, so I decided that I would retire. But even though I retired, I still wanted to work with young people. So I went to college. While I was in the military, I went as far as my education specialist degree. And while I was just getting out, I got my doctorate in education leadership. And my plan was to come into school and to be a principal. But I wanted to get a feel of what the education system was about. So I decided to join the JROTC program. And I joined the JROTC program at Carver High School. That was my first place that I was a JROTC instructor. I stayed there for about 6 months, and that was basically just to get a feel of the program. And then I was transferred to Mays High School, Benjamin E. Mays, and I stayed in Benjamin E. Mays for an additional 2 years. Then I moved over to Best Academy. I was asked to start a program there. So I started the program at Best Academy, and from Best Academy, I moved over here to Coretta. And I've been here ever since, and during that time, it's been about five and a half years. This will be my 6th year. Okay, JROTC stands for Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps. Okay, it's a program, again, that teaches students about leadership. Okay, the program was first started to groom officers for the military. Okay, they wanted to have a program where they can train young men and women. Actually, it was young men because the program had young men at first. Females weren't allowed to get in the program, so it was to train young men for the military. As the program went on, they incorporated females. Okay, and then as time went on, the program shifted a little bit, wherein the program is no longer to train officers or students for the military, it's to assist them in leadership and be a good citizen. And so that's what the program does now, teach students how to be good citizens. And they do it through leadership, and the JROTC instructors working in partnership with the teachers and all the other professionals inside of the school. In the beginning of the year, students learn different drill movements. It's called drill and ceremony. They learn how to march, they learn how to call commands, and then as the year goes on, they learn how to perfect their commands. At the end of the year, they get a test, and what they do is they incorporate everything that they learn, and they have to march 3 students. and then they get evaluated on that. And the whole purpose of evaluating the cadets is because we have these same cadets work with the younger cadets in which they actually teach the cadets how to march, because JROTC is a student-led program. I have several students who have actually left. Some of them joined the military, and I get calls from them letting me know how they did well in basic training and AIT, which is advanced individual training, and then they go on to their regular duty assignments. I also have some students that call me back and say that they went on to college. So it's a program, it's so rewarding because you see students come in, and sometimes they come in kind of raw, and later on through the years, you see them come back and they really succeed, and it really makes you feel good.
What happens in the classroom? What kinds of things do you go over?
Basically in the classroom, we do go over drill and ceremony. We teach life skills. They do a lot of first aid. We also partner with some of the teachers, so we do teach them a little bit of history. We teach them history. We teach them citizenship. They'll learn values, military values. They learn, they do different physical fitness maps. We take them outside on Fridays, and they actually do physical fitness. They go around the track. They make physical fitness schedules for themselves and family, and it works for them.
I've asked all the teachers I've interviewed this, not in a negative way, but what are some of the challenges of this discipline? We
receive students at JROTC that's challenging, but we look at it as a challenge, because those are the students who sometimes people say, well, you know, they're going to have a rough time. Maybe they can't follow this path, or maybe they can't follow that path. But JROTC, we try to get them on the right path and find out what they're strong in, what they're good in, and what they like, and then we'll put them in that direction.
So, like everyone else, I've been to a basketball game, baseball game, or different things, and they do what's called a presentation of colors. Can you walk us through exactly what that means and what the purpose of that is to a lot of the people watching this, and we take it for granted? What should we know about that?
The presentation of colors, that is a very sacred ceremony for us. Whether you're in the military, in JROTC, and just as a citizen in the United States, it should be pretty sacred to you, because when you present colors for me and our JROTC program, you know, it's a lot of people that put their lives on the line for this country, and we want to show respect for our country. CSK is an awesome place for young girls. Outside of just the regular education that the young ladies receive, they get one-on-one attention here. The principal, she knows Miss McCrary Lakes, she knows every young girl in the school by name. The teachers here know every young girl here by name. And we try to reach past just academics with the children. We try to learn the parents. We try to learn their family life. We try to basically be role models for the young ladies here at CSK. And I know, you know, some schools do that, but we go the extra mile.
Left shoulder on. Present R, order R.
My passion in the classroom is to see young ladies come in one way and leave out another. I love to teach discipline. I love to teach leadership, because I think females should be leaders, and I think they should be strong leaders. So I enjoy teaching young ladies to be leaders. And then I go outside the box. Sometimes it's not about leadership, and sometimes it's not about just teaching them life skills. It's just teaching them who they are. Mm-hmm. And I enjoy that. And I think my background has assisted me in doing that.
I have to ask, do you raise the bar on the discipline? Because, you know, once they leave here, hey, you know, the world's not going to be so nice, so I got to be extra hard here. Do you find that's the case?
I think in JROTC, I do raise the bar. In JROTC, JROTC should be disciplined. This is the place where I believe discipline should be learned, discipline should be instilled here. And then also you have to remember, Coretta Scott King, you know, there's a leadership in that title, Coretta Scott King Young Women's Leadership Academy. So I take that leadership to a whole nother level. I want my girls to be really strong when they leave here, again, regardless wherever they go, whether it's in the military, it's the college, or a technical school, wherever they may go, I want them to be a leader. And I want people to say, hey, wow, Coretta Scott King produces leaders.
So just to be clear, we demystify the fact that the kids are learning leadership skills. Yes. That's the main takeaway they're getting from JROTC.
That's right. The main thing that they're getting from JROTC, leadership skills and good citizenship skills. So we want to fine-tune ours to make sure when our girls leave out here, they are good citizens and that they're productive citizens.
Any closing thoughts, anything I might have missed you'd like to add?
I just want to say that I really, really enjoy JROTC. I think this is where I am supposed to be. I enjoy my students. It's a joy to come to work every day and look in the young ladies' faces and know that I've made a difference.
Thank you for calling your GED Pep Talk Center. All right, now, are you ready for your GED Pep Talk?
Being nervous is okay. It just shows that you're serious about getting your diploma.
All right, listen, we all need a little nudge sometimes. I don't function without coffee in the morning, but it is going to take more than a double mochaccino to help you here.
A lot of things are scary. Heck, I'm scared of clowns.
No quiero oír. Danny, no lo puedo hacer. Quiero oír. Danny, lo voy a hacer.
TMC, liking your pep talk style.
Just keeping it real, Debs, just keeping it real.
Louder, louder, I'm gonna get my GED, come on! Get your GED. Hey. Keep it down, Baba. Thanks.
Whatever motivation you need, we've got a pep talk for you. Get your GED pep talk and find free classes at yourged.org.
The path to the educational world is not the same for all, as our next difference maker demonstrates. Her path to the classroom started with her eyes on the legal profession while at Spelman College. A chance meeting with an education recruiter proved to be the catalyst that helped her reach her ultimate goal and passion, which was teaching. This difference maker admits that she's moved by children and the joy they bring to her. So that said, our next stop is Atlanta's very own E.L. Connolly Elementary School to meet our next difference maker, third grade teacher, Miss Brittany Collins.
Help them out. 11 and 1/4. Think of your fraction bar. 1/4, half.
Yeah, well, I come from a family of educators. My grandmother, my uncles are all retired teachers back in my hometown. And I worked with a lot of students while I was in Spelman, and I did certain community service projects. So I worked with a lot of kids, and I always loved working with kids and really giving back and helping. And it just, I don't know, it was really, I don't have this long drawn out story saying from when I was a little girl I wanted to teach. But when I came here and I saw the struggle, but more importantly, just the instant impact you can make on a student's life, I'm still here, and I'll be here for a while. Okay, I got started teaching. It literally was a decision made in 2 days. I was at Spelman College, and there was a recruiter for Teach for America on campus, and at the time, I was a paralegal for the past 2 years, so I had my heart set on law school. And as I learned more about the statistics in certain low-income area, especially the area that I actually went to college, and some of the discrepancies between the students in Metro Atlanta versus the North versus the South, and actually what was happening in the classroom, it really impacted me because it helped me reflect upon my own education as a public school student. And thinking of all the teachers that made sacrifices pushed me further and actually assisted with me stepping into college at the time. I just became overwhelmed, and I literally did the application in 48 hours, and I was notified. My 2 years were up in 2009, and I'm still here.
So when you came to college, was education on the radar? Or
Not at all.
If you don't mind telling us, what
I was
were you
psychology, pre-law. Okay. So I worked at the Burke Law Firm on Peter Street for 2 years. So even when I gave my boss the recommendation for a job, he assumed it was for law school, but it was actually for education. So it caught everyone by surprise that that was the field I was going into. But I'm very pleased with my decision to go into education, because It's one of the most challenging jobs ever. People may think that teachers are, we get off at 2:30 and we have the summers off, but it takes a lot of hard work and dedication to actually move a child and impact them in a positive way beyond the 9 months that you have them.
We're going to be solving a task. How big is a desk? Do you know how big a desk is? Yes. Do you know exactly? Yes. No, we don't know exactly, so what can we do to find out? Measure. We can measure it.
Today we did a lesson. Well, our unit is measurement, and the students have already learned about perimeter and area, but this time we combined actually measuring with standard and non-standard items and combining that with the perimeter and area. So the students had to figure out a way to estimate first using centimeter cubes, 1-inch tiles, and an actual ruler to figure out how large their desk was, but they would then use that information to find the perimeter of their desk and the area of their desk. And I was interested to see that some of the children used, some of the strategies that they've learned how to find perimeters as far as adding the sides and doing the area, the length times the width, versus putting actual centimeter cubes to cover the entire region of the desk. And my kids figured that out, and that was definitely something in the lesson that I wanted to make sure that the students actually discovered. You can use your knowledge of how to come up with a perimeter and area versus actually doing it, because that would take more time. And at this point in the year, we not only want to use strategies, but we want to focus on the strategies that are most effective.
1, and then what else? 2. But if I were to measure my arm using these, am I going to need more than 2? Yes. So which one would take more?
Centimeter blocks.
Centimeter blocks.
So one thing I noticed about the lesson is that there was very little writing, and you had lots of these little blocks that I was kind of tripping over on the floor. But let's explain to us exactly what those were all about.
Okay, so those are the manipulatives that we use for the lesson. And we didn't see it, but the students will get into more writing. They wrote a quick reflection at the end, but that's a 2-day lesson. And exploration is key, especially with Common Core. We're going into a lot of conceptual understanding. To actually have the kids just find the perimeter and area, if I were giving them, the measurements or the dimensions, for them to write it out, find it, do the formula, and move on.
Exact,
they may forget that by the time they get to 4th grade, but they won't forget actually moving the tile, and they will remember, I know which strategy to use to find the perimeter area because this will take too long. So they're able to connect it with a life experience, which is what I want. I don't want to teach facts, and when they're in 5th grade are like, I don't remember doing that. I want to be able to let my kids connect it with experiences, whether that be from having a great time with their classmates, Miss Collins questioning me, or you even being in here with the camera. They'll always remember finding the perimeter and area through experiences and not through rote memorization.
But talk about the challenges of just being a teacher.
The challenges are very prevalent. It's very hard. It takes so much out of you because you come into a room in the beginning of the year and you have a list of students and no personalities are attached. You don't know what's going on in family. You don't know anything. You just know their name and their age. And when they enter your classroom, as much as you pre-plan, you're going to have to alter your journey depending on the set of students that you have. Some of the difficulties that we've had lately with the rise of everything happening in education is increased class size. This was the first year that I had a class this large, so I didn't have to get to know 15 kids. I have to get to know 26 kids and make sure that I am moving each and every one of them, giving them my best, giving them my attention. And in the neighborhood where I work, there are many other issues that we face that are going, home life. So you have academic life, you have family life. I'm a nurse to some of them, I'm a counselor. I try to be a friend, and a friend in a way where they can trust me. And they know that my purpose here is to move you forward and to make sure you're prepared beyond the 3rd grade.
If you were on the spot and they said, measure this, you can't run to the Dollar General to get a ruler, right? So you would say, okay, let me look at this. Let me do a quick estimate. So I want us to know that estimating, even though it's a guess, you still have to have some method that you're using to actually figure out, okay, what's reasonable here? So I really like how this table was actually able to figure out 15 is reasonable, and if I use 15 for tiles, when I actually use a foot, because if it's 1-inch tile, you were actually able to take the math and do that 12 12 of these would actually be 1 foot, right? And then you actually add it in half. So your estimations were very reasonable.
So let's rise up and talk about the joys of the profession. You started right off with the joys of the job, but let's continue on with that. Can you share with me something?
Yeah, I absolutely adore being in their presence. You know, the kids, you can have an issue with them on Monday, but on Tuesday, if you just love them the same, and they love you regardless, as long as they know they can trust you and you're here to support them. I mean, they show you so much love and concern. They ask about my daughter every single day as if she's a sibling of theirs. They're concerned of whether you're having a good day, whether you're having a bad day. If I taught a lesson and I'm getting frustrated, you know, they'll come back and say, Ms. Collins, we didn't do well today. I'm going to do my homework tonight, and then we're going to try it again tomorrow. They see you, and it's to a point where they kind of idolize you, and I have to remind them, I'm human too, just like you are. I'm human, just like your mother. But they are very appreciative of what you do for them every day. Even when they don't show it, I know that they are.
But just know that Alika's pretty bright because she was very, very close to the actual measurement. So when you come to the 1-inch tile table, you'll be able to see just how close Alika was.
What brings your passion for the job?
To know that I'm impacting not just the students in my classroom, but my community. That's one of the things that have kept me in this actual neighborhood or in this district.
So we have one whole,
you know, there are a lot of schools in Metro Atlanta, but there's something about a child in this particular school. I could be biased because this is all I know, and maybe that's what, you know, fills me, because this is home for me. I haven't been to any other school. Connolly is all I know. So I've seen the kids grow up. And just to see how your practices or my colleagues' practices have directly impacted the life of a child, that could totally change the trajectory of where they could have been. You know, it's a hard job saying the same thing, because you can be filled with coulda, woulda, shoulda. I should have done this. I should have done that more. Maybe if I wouldn't have done this, this wouldn't have happened to this child. So, you know, it's a great job, but you have so much responsibility, because as a parent, when I drop my daughter off at school, I'm trusting that her teacher is embedding things that is going to help her be a productive adult. And parents are doing that for me every day. And when they show me that, you know, Ms. Collins, I trust you. And I trust that when I bring my child to school, you're going to fill their head up with academics, you know, social, emotional development, everything. That's just a lot of responsibility. And I don't think people really understand the job that goes along with being a teacher. You know, it's academics, but something that I've learned, that's only the icing on the cake. There's so many other things that you have to develop and just teach the whole child before you can even get to, you know, when you talk about student achievement. And that's difficult, because you want to make sure you give each and every child the same attention. You want to push them, and it takes a lot out of you. But May is the good part, because you see all of your hard work, even when you didn't think they were listening. You're like, they got it. They understood me. So that's pretty cool.
Tell me the great things that makes Connolly such a great community.
Something that's special about Connolly. The teachers here, they're your family. In our classrooms, those are our kids. So, I mean, I've never, again, this is my only school, but we all work together so well. We support each other. We hold each other accountable for student learning. If you're having a bad day, we listen, but we're like, hey, we still have a job to do. Get going. You know, it's been very supportive. It's been great here. The parents that we have. I mean, I have some of my parents of students that I taught in first grade that still just come by. How you doing, Ms. Collins? Do you need anything? Are you having a great day? I noticed that a lot of the colleges, Morehouse and Spelman, have been in the building a lot, helping mentor some of the third grade boys, because we have a lot of them this year. You know, so it's in part the community, the teachers, the kids adore you like crazy. Like, we're part of their community too, and they appreciate that. And just really the stakeholders in the community. The parents are here doing cafeteria duty, just helping out, just because they know this is difficult. And versus have a good day, they're actually rolling their sleeves up and jumping in with us. So, you know, I've had a great 4 years here. I was at a principal's meeting, And he said, the day you want to give up on a kid, remember that they may be out of your classroom, but you're going to run into them again, and it can either be in a positive light or a negative light. And just letting you know, like, each child that you come into contact with or you interact with, you are responsible for them. And that's a lot, but it's a responsibility that I'm very proud of. And I can't wait to impact more kids.
Thank you for having me out to your classroom.
Thank you.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
I'm here in the dance studio of one of our high schools. Now, if you think back to dance class, what pictures come to mind? Is it a large mirror in a room like this with a balance beam? And also, are you probably thinking there'd be a few loyal students preparing for the big concert at the end of the school year? Well, if you thought that was true, you've obviously not met our next difference maker. I like to call her the Swiss Army knife of instruction, as she just seems to do it all. Her classroom extends anywhere and everywhere, and she can take it. She's not afraid to utilize her relationships and extensive dance education to create partnerships which will benefit both her, her school, and her students. And about those guys, yes, they're in on it too. Well, I had a chance to sit down with our next difference maker and perception changer, Ms. Tiffany Mingo, here at Jackson High School.
Very nice.
My dance journey began at a performing arts high school that I attended in Buffalo, New York, and I studied dance there from grades 7 through 12, receiving a dance diploma. Upon completion of that program, I went on to SUNY for dance and received a degree in dance as well. But in the entire time, I was actually teaching as well in the community, teaching at a cultural arts center. Learning African dance and sharing that with younger students. So my journey with teaching began early, and my path has always been in dance.
A lot of people get into dance or get into the arts, and it's something their parents got them into, and they kind of fall wayside. This has been a lifelong venture for you. Can you talk about that, how you've kept it going?
Yeah, I've always been passionate about dance and the arts. I love theater, I love music, I love visual arts, and my parents were also visual artists. So for me, being embraced and exposed to different art forms at a young age definitely impacted me. I've always been that young girl that couldn't keep still at a young age, and you know, just being able to learn everything I can possibly learn. And travel to learn different cultures. I've been to Australia studying Aboriginal dance and art, and Jamaica, the Jamaica School of Dance. Learning all these cultural things has been, I would say, the largest impact just for self-identity and who I am. It is important to me, you know, young African American students should study culture and really know where they come from and their roots. It's very important. So that was the basis and the foundation for me from a cultural standpoint. And then I went on to really study the classical ballet, modern, jazz, and the other dance styles from that point.
So just to demystify, we are in a school, so those who dance, you know, if you're a student taking dance in high school, forgive my language, but you're not taking jazz, tap, or just basic things. You do a lot more than that. I understand there's classroom work involved.
Exactly, exactly. You know, a lot of people disassociate movement and dance. Everyone is a mover. You know, that's the very first thing I always teach the students. We start with moving, everyone moves, and then the art of learning different steps put together becomes the dance. So there's different levels of that. As far as what I'm able to do here at Maynard Jackson is just to provide the students with a very large umbrella of different dance styles and genres. You know, the students today are very involved in hip-hop dance styles and jazz. So for me, even though we have a strong ballet focus, the idea is to also meet the child where they are and incorporate the things that they enjoy, like the hip hop and the jazz. But when I'm able to introduce like belly dancing and African dance, they appreciate those styles as well.
The dance student, let's bring some appreciation to some of your dance students here. What kind of edge do they have? What kind of life lessons are they taking away from this, just being part of the dance program? They're in better shape? It's just a wellness thing, or?
Nice. Yes, they're, you know, with the art of dance, in reference to dance education, there is a hidden curriculum. And behind that is fostering the student to be creative, confident, to feel that they can get up and do public speaking. It allows the students to become young artists because they're able to create and choreograph their own works and feel very proud of it as an artist, and to present that to the public. Also, our students are very critical in their analysis of what they see. So students, we're able to do field trips and go out and see dance and critique dance. Your Alvin Ailey, Martha Graham, we're able to look at these works and we have these critical discussions. But it's a very important aspect of their learning because, of course, the end product usually is to see the students in a concert on the stage. But a lot of times, you know, we do the instruction for that, but there is a process to it, the discipline that's involved, having the dance attire, being responsible, being committed. You know, those are the other curriculum strands that are inside of this hidden curriculum that I'm talking about. And what we're able to do is to meet those students. You know, if we have students that don't have money for a leotard and tights, we as a dance department, we're able to support that so that every student has an opportunity regardless of what body types they have. But yes, obesity is a major thing, especially in teenagers currently, and so the fitness and wellness is also a very important piece.
And to demystify further, you have males that dance, and you encourage the males to come out. Let's talk up the guys a little bit.
Well, we started a male dance program last year. Actually, in that course, at that time, I had about 25 young men. Most of these students were recruited from the football team and the track team. And so initially, you know, I thought I was going to alter the curriculum and such where I would not introduce the ballet technique at first. We would do more of Pilates, more cardio, hip-hop, stepping, you know, different genres in the hip-hop, crumping and ticking, those things that were going to interest them. But actually, I learned after a few weeks they wanted to do the modern dance. They wanted to be expressive, and they wanted to learn the ballet foundation. And actually, I had great support from the coaches because they wanted those young men to have that experience because it works with the agility on the fields. And so we're able to still have males in the program this year, and we're always highlighting them. They've recently have performed as warriors, African warriors. They've done some stepping and all types of activities, and it's really been a journey because we're breaking down the barriers and the male stereotypes that men don't dance.
Even the movement we just performed is abstract, correct? Yes. Did I give you a story? No. I am just teaching you the steps, but you have to think. You have to have a process behind the moves. So for instance, like the passe reach, you have to still give, so all your movement still has purpose. Does that make sense? So everything that you do, the releve, you want to hold it because you don't want to anticipate what's the next step. So what am I talking about from one step to the next? What is important? The smooth transitions, very good. And that's where the refinement of a dancer is. All right? Anybody can do steps, but what makes you special when someone can identify you as a dancer is how you get from A to B.
There's an academic side to this, and with the changes in the curriculum changes in the district and the state, there are changes that you have to adapt as well.
Exactly.
So let's demystify that. It does impact dance,
Oh,
Common
definitely.
Core, your international baccalaureate status. So what kinds of changes do you see on the horizon here?
You know, our biggest thing for the fine arts now is aligning the Common Core curriculum with the fine arts, and it has a wonderful alignment. The critical thinking, the higher order thinking skills. These students are charged now to align the vocabulary strategies as well as using text to discuss what they're doing in reference to their choreography and what they're actually viewing when we critique movement. So the whole English language arts piece is embedded into the dance curriculum. We call it dance literacy. And with dance literacy, our students are reading, they're writing, and we're discussing. And, you know, the biggest thing for students is not just to know vocabulary, but to truly apply it and to see it in their writing.
Again, 5, 6, 7, and up, and out, soutenu, around, and out, and in, and up. From here, you're gonna do a little chug, contract, and scoop all the way down. Right, tuck your left leg into a pretzel. Lift your back up, fan kick around. Very good.
You've been at Jackson a good minute now, as I understand it, and Jackson High School, that is. So let's talk about the Jackson community a little bit. I'm sure you've no trouble here, but what's so great about Jackson?
You know what's so great? I believe it's diversity. Diversity is here at Jackson. You know, we have definitely had several changes over the years, but this is my 8th year here. But I have just seen enormous support from the faculty and the staff here. This program was started and nurtured through coming in and using a dance facility studio well built out that no one was currently using. And so coming in to begin this program and just to see the growth over the years and the students involved, I think my biggest response has been from the faculty and staff and them seeing what it's done for the kids. These children are, they're growing, they're able to stay involved in the arts on some level, and also I keep in touch with them, and that's very important. I know that I've made impacts with working with them.
Do we get the wrong impression of what dance is really all about?
You know what? You know what I love about dance? The first thing you do is you walk into a dance studio and you see this mirror. You have to look at yourself. You have to assess who you are on a daily basis. For me, it's a journey. These students come in, and one of the assessment tools is the mirror. So the students are actually correcting their bodies, correcting their posture, you know, lifting up, making the neck long. They're correcting all of this on a daily basis through self-assessments, and that's the wonderful thing I think about the mirrors. However, what we do is try to move past that mirror assessment piece to more of an intrinsic and emotional and expressive style, where when we start performing and doing choreography, we don't want the students looking in the mirror to see how they look. At that point, we want them to feel and express themselves and be able to emote this wonderful emotion to the audience, something that they can appreciate.
Dance is everywhere, but it's just seen as entertainment.
There's several shows out there that are providing a platform for dance to be on the TV screen and to be appreciated from everyone who views it. It is more than an entertainment art. You know, that is a misconception. Generally speaking, we want to come to an event and be entertained. But what the student as a artist, as a student that has something to say and express, they're able to create things that they want to passionately communicate. If it's a political issue, if it's a personal issue, and they're using narrative form to express a story that has occurred in their families. You know, these are the things that we see in the compositional piece of their art, in the choreography. And that's where I want students to know it's okay. You do not have to put on a work and allow everyone to just applaud. Sometimes you could put on a work and just have people silent and just have their own perspective. And if they agree or disagree, that's okay, because you have a voice. You have a voice.
Okay. What brings your passion for the work? What brings your passion for the job?
My passion is, I don't believe it's work. I stay at work hours and hours, to the point where I don't even realize what time it is. A lot of people look at it as coming to work. I look at it as coming to do what I do. I believe I was born to teach, to share, to give, and to nurture. That's who I am as an individual, and this is what I do on a daily basis. This is what makes me happy. I would, you know what? I've told my students this. I said, if I was given $1 million today, I would still want to work with my kids. I would still want to teach. Exactly. I would still want to choreograph and inspire them. And so for me, that's when I know that I'm in the right field. And that's when I also share with them, don't pick a career choice just based on how much money it can bring you. Pick something that you're extremely passionate about, and then when you do go to your workplace on a daily basis, it's not work. It's love. It's your appreciation for it.
There you have it, 4 dynamic educators and 4 dynamic schools. Thank you for joining us for episode 6 of Difference Makers.
Bye.